Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about Boy Meets World reunion from the 90's con, which I am so mad I wasn't able to go because I don't live in Connecticut and I didn't even know about it. But man, if I knew about it, you best believe I would have went. But the reason why I want to talk about this is because, with the 90's con, popular 90s shows. I was a child of the 90's. Um, One of the last greatest hurrahs of entertainment, to be honest, for kids. If you know, you know. But the reason why I want to talk about this is because they did interviews with the Boy Meets World cast, and one thing that I found, interesting, perplexing, but not really, is how they skipped over the sequel series, Girl Meets World. And if you guys know, Girl Meets World is the spinoff sequel to Boy Meets World, where Corey and Topanga have Riley, and Riley finally goes through in her journey while Corey and Topanga are now the parents and helping her go through it. And it was on Disney Channel for 3 seasons, and we got to see Riley from seventh, eighth, and then ninth grade, and then that was it. That was the rest of the show. And they, some of the interviews that I've been watching, the reason why I put this little clip over there, because they talk about the whole how the cast feel about doing like a reunion special or whatever, and how everything will be. And the cast said they were always open for a reunion, and they said you never know nowadays with this thing. And I bring it up because people do want to see a Boy Meets World reunion. They want to see where the characters are, but the way Disney did it just wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? With all due respect to the actors, the young actors and actresses who were on the show of Girl Meets World, they they bullshitted the show to and stopped its growth. And what should have happened is, yes, you want to do a new series, and you want to, I mean, you want to show the lives of these characters. But I think what you should have did is um do what Fuller House did. You know how when Fuller House came back, it still brought back the entire cast of the old original characters, except for Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, because they didn't feel comfortable acting. So that's understandable. But what you should have brought back the original cast, and you can bring in the kids, but have a lot of episodes, have a lot of moments in the episodes that focus on the old cast, but slowly integrating the new cast into it. That's kind of like how Raven's Home kind of did it too. They brought back Raven and Chelsea, and they had kids, but they also had part of the episodes that focused on Raven and Chelsea. You get what I'm saying? And that's what should have happened with Girl Meets World. Plus, not a lot of fans didn't like the ending relationship between Sean and Angela. Trini McGee and Ryan Strong played those characters respectively, and people want a redo, kind of, because for me, if it was me, and when we saw Trini, when we saw Angela in Girl Meets World, she would have returned as a recurring character, just like Reiner, but it would have also caused a little tension between Sean starting this new life. Angela has this life, but Angela has a secret. And what her secret would have been is that she has a child with Sean. When she left, the day before she left, they had, what? Of course, you guys know. And she got pregnant, but she didn't tell Sean. And it was something that was kind of bothering her, that she wanted to reconnect. And then that way it can kind of be one of those things where where Trini, because apparently there was a lot of things, a lot of tensions going on in the Boy Meets World set, where it kind of made her feel a little bit uncomfortable with the cast later down the seasons. And Danielle, Fisher, Ben, Will, everybody apologized for making her feel like she wasn't welcome or unwanted or anything. And what it could have been, it could have been like a healing session for the entire cast, and it could have been a cool recurring story and stuff like that. Not that I'm not saying that Sean still can't have his relationship with Maya, but now he has, the person that he really loves, kind of back in his life, and they have a child together. That could have really brought in a little bit, because a lot of Boy Meets World fans, if you talk to them, they always figured that Sean and Angela would end up back together. Like they probably would have went through marriages. It probably wouldn't have worked out, but then in the end, they would have came back, and that's what they should have did, instead of, oh, let's put Sean with Maya. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. I'm not discrediting Maya's character, even though she's basically a knockoff version of Sean, just like Riley is a knockoff version of Corey. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. It wasn't the same as it should have been, and it could have been so much more. And the reason why I'm saying it is because people love the Boy Meets World cast. They want to see more from this cast, and they want to see them. Because I mean, that's from little clips I saw about 90's Con. People reminded Trini and Reiner all the time about how much they loved them, and how much it was they messed up with the sequel series. And it's not like you couldn't really do a reboot of a reboot. You know what I'm saying? Because technically, you can kind of step over it. You can kind of step over Girl Meets World and do a Boy Meets World reunion and call it um, Boy Meets Home or something like that. I don't know. Or Man Meets World. That could be the sequel. And of course, it'll still have Corey and Topanga together. They'll have kids, but for me, they would have had three kids, because they were originally supposed to have three kids. It was weird that they didn't have three kids. Give them back the third kid, and like I said, Sean and Angela would have had a kid together, but also, from either Sean's random hookup, he would have had another child out of wedlock, or and Angela from a previous marriage that didn't work out probably would have had two kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you have Eric, who comes back. He's a fun loving uncle, of course. And then of course you could bring back the parents, because of course you need the grandparents around. Then you have Lawrence, who him and Rachel probably will still stay together, or something happen between them or whatever. And you got to bring in the cast, but you need to focus a little bit more on the nostalgia characters, and slowly introduce the new characters and have moments and scenes with them, but still make sure that the old cast gets that love, because that's what people want. And I'm not saying that Girl Meets World was a bad decision. It just wasn't a well thought out idea, especially when there were topics that Boy Meets World dealt with that Disney seemed to not want to be able to do on Disney Channel. And then when they did it with Annie Mac, it was a little too late. I keep trying to tell y'all, it's just a little too late, a little too wrong, and I can't wait. Like, you can't wait until the last minute to try to, now you want to get serious. You had how many years to get serious? You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those one of those things. And then with everything going to streaming services, you might as well, Disney. I mean, hey, if it gives you more money and people love it, why not? You see how people are excited, and you see how when they talk about the Boy Meets World reunion, that's not a whiff of Girl Meets World there. So, hey, Girl Meets World probably not going to be fondly remembered like, your other shows. You know what I'm saying? At least with Fuller House, it made sense because you still had the 90's characters, but you also had new characters, but you didn't take away a lot of the focus from the 90 characters. So if they ever did a reunion with Full House and Fuller House, people will be fondly remembered because you still had those old characters in there. And that is your mistake that you should have did with the Boy Meets World reunion. Yeah, it could have had talked about the story about Corey's daughter, but it still should have been Corey, Topanga, Sean, Angela, those four characters the most should have been the main characters. Then the new actors and actresses will fill in. Does that make sense? Yeah, it totally makes sense. But I'm just saying, I just thought it was really cool to kind of see the cast together again and them talking about it because apparently people love the Boy Meets World cast. I mean, if it was up to half of us, we still probably would have been following them to this day because of the shenanigans and the hijinks that they all get into. But that's just my opinion. Those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think. Comment below. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, everyone.